All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Bow Wars. Today we've got the 2025 Hoyt RX9 Ultra versus the 2025 PSE Mach 33. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Zach with Extreme Outfitters, and we're gonna put these bows head to head. We're gonna cover the features of the bow, the tuning capabilities, the draw cycle, valley, grip, back wall, post-shot feel, speed, and then of course our accuracy testing out to 30 yards, or our grouping testing that we're gonna be doing. Getting right into it, these are probably two of my favorite bows for 2025. I was actually torn between the two of them. I think they are both fantastic bows, and both are the carbon bows for Hoyt and PSE. So when it comes to carbon bows, these are the king of the jungle. Looking at the features, so the Hoyt RX9, one of the things I really like about it is the cam that they have. It's the HBX Zakk Gen 4 cam. You can take and adjust draw length in 1/4 inch increments, which is absolutely fantastic to really fine-tune fit the draw length to the shooter. Again, built on their carbon platform, they've got their Picatinny mounted sight option. You've got your integrated rest option for those nice low profile look and feel, which really brings everything in line and helps the bow hold better. And then they've got, of course, their stabilizer mounts, and they've got some really cool accessories that go along with these bows, like the Ghost Stick 2.0. So the Hoyt RX9 Ultra is a fantastic platform. Moving over to the Mach 33, this bow is built on, of course, PSE's carbon bow. This has the EC2 cam. The EC2 cam, in my opinion, is one of the smoothest drawing cams on the market out of any of the bows that I've shot, and we have shot all of them. So EC2 cam is fantastic. PSE is also known for their full draw stability. So if you've looked at any video comparisons in the past from Outdoor Life, Field and Stream, the PSE bows are always seem to be 1 and 2 when it comes to the accuracy side of things. That just comes to show you that the full draw stability system that PSE offers is not just a marketing term. It is actually comes into play and works very, very well. And what that is their dynamic brace height. So the brace height increases as the bow goes, or as you get to full draw with the bow. That's the way the cams are designed, which makes the bow a little bit more forgiving platform. They also have their Picatinny mounted sight options, just like all the other bows. And then you have your integrated dovetail option in the back for your inline arrow rest. When we look at both of these bows and we talk about the tuning side of these, both bows tune really well. They're fantastic platforms, but there is a difference when it comes to tuning, not tuning capability, but the ability to tune the bow maybe a little bit faster, right? So Hoyt is built on their tried and true shim system where you have to take the axles in and out. It's not a bad system, but it does take a little bit more time. You have to put this bow in the press it, you have to take the axles out, and then you have to manage to hold those little shims and get them back in place in order to slide that axle back through the bow. When I set up this RX9, I did not have to do that, luckily. The RX9 Ultras have seen, for the most of the ones that we've put out the door, we haven't had to take the shims out. So this one still has the stock gray shims in them as it was set up from the factory, so I didn't have to do that. But it does take a little bit more time if you happen to have to do that with the Hoyt bows. I think PSE has really nailed it with their Easy 220 shim system, which is, again, a shim system, but you still have to put it in the press, but it pops in and out without having to take the axles out. Very, very streamlined, very fast, very efficient, works very well. Both systems work fantastic, but the PSE Easy 220 shim system is a little bit easier. The Hoyt system is tried and true though. I mean, once these bows are tuned and set up, typically you're not gonna have to touch it again unless you change an arrow build or do something drastic to the bow. So as far as ease of tunability goes, I would give it to the PSE, but both are great systems. It just requires a little bit more effort when it comes to the Hoyt. When I set up the PSE Mach 33, normally whenever I set up a 33 for most people, these bows come with the Easy 220 shim system with a 100 and a 120. Normally, we have to swap those shims right away. We typically go to an 80-140 is what we see from most shooters. So I had to go to the 60-160 shim on these, which isn't typical for me. I shoot a Mach 33. I'll be straight up with you guys. I really enjoy the bow. I shoot the bow personally. This bow, when I set it up and I tuned both these bows, I tuned them with this Axis 4mm from Easton. This is a 447 grain arrow. For whatever reason, I had to go to a little bit different shim system, but again, it was very easy, very quick, very efficient. Both bows are shooting these arrows, and both bows are shooting these arrows extremely well. So when moving on to the draw cycle and valley, both bows' valleys I think are really good, and I'll show you guys. So the draw cycle on the Hoyt bow tends to be a little bit stiffer. It's still an incredibly smooth draw cycle in my opinion, but if you're somebody that's shot the RX7, RX8, and you go to the RX9, it is a little bit stiffer. But you get a little bit more speed out of it. Right there, it's a little stiffer on the back half. It's not bad at all, but it is, the biggest complaint is the stiffness on it. And for me, I think it feels really, really good beginning to end. But again, maybe a little bit stiffer. The valley on the Hoyt bows, I think, is incredible. It's a very forgiving valley. Once you get the full draw, you can relax a little bit on this bow. It doesn't feel like it's ready to run away from you. So fantastic valley on this bow. Like I said already, I think the the EC2 cam on the PSE bows is tough to beat. I think just about anybody who shot them would agree with me on that. Very, very smooth and just forgiving feeling draw cycle. Beginning to end, there's no hump, there's no dump whatsoever with this bow. Valley on it, very forgiving. Maybe a little bit more forgiving. You do have to, these bows are set up on 85%, both of them. So it does feel like the valley on the PSE is a little bit more forgiving. It does require a little bit more effort to let it down, but still very easy to let down. But the Hoyt on 85%, I really like the valley on that bow. I just think it's very, very forgiving. It's very easy to hold, but it's also very easy to let down. Neither one of these bows feel like they want to run away from me. I mean, I would rate them equal as far as valley goes, but draw cycle, I think the EC2 cam is a touch smoother from beginning to end. There's just no hump and no dump. Moving into the grip. Again, I think Hoyt and PSE have really nailed it when it comes to draw cycle, valley, and the grip. I'm a big fan of the Hoyt grip. It's very repeatable. It's very easy to get that same grip over and over again. You don't have the ability to change these grips, which for me isn't a problem because I like the way it feels right out of the gate. Both are low profile grips, which I've always kind of gravitated towards. That's why I've liked the Bowtech grips as well. I think both these have fantastic grips. Neither one of them, for me, really induce any hand torque. I have, however, seen some people, I actually had a good friend yesterday who we were setting up a bow for, who's really struggled to shoot the Mach 33. He just naturally induced torque into the bow. So for him, it wasn't the right fit. And I think that's why it's important you test and try all the bows before you actually buy them. But for me personally, I really do like both of the grips. I like the bare grip that the PSE comes with, so you're shooting right off the riser, but the grip on the Hoyt bow, it's tacky. It feels like it sticks to your hand a little bit, very repeatable. So both have fantastic grips. Now, moving into the actual back wall and post-shot feel, I think across the board for all of the new bows, the back wall feels fantastic. It's just rock solid whenever that bow is set up and in time. And that's a big part of it, right? If a back wall feels a little bit spongy or, you know, it's not quite as solid as it should be, typically there's a timing issue or something with it with these new bows. And Hoyt has a fantastic back wall on it, and honestly, it has a fantastic post-shot feel. I'll let you hear it. There's no vibration in this bow. The bow is quiet. It just feels really, really good. Yeah, the Hoyt feels fantastic post-shot. Back wall is absolutely phenomenal. I don't think there's anything to complain about as far as overall feel and post-shot feel of the Hoyt bows. I just think they are incredible and they shoot extremely well and they feel really, really good. There's virtually no feedback from this bow. Both bows are set up similarly. As you can see, 10-inch bee stinger bars. They both are set up on a Picatinny mounted sight. So we've got the Hoyt driver sight here. We've got the Spot Hog Boonie pick mounted. So there is a little bit of weight to these, which does go into effect with the post-shot feel. But again, I mean, even shooting these bows bare bow, there's virtually no vibration or feedback on them. So fantastic. We've had some people say, well, post-shot feel doesn't matter. And you're right, it doesn't to everybody, but to some people it does. So that's one of the reasons we highlight it. Moving into the Mach 33. Again, I have a lot of experience with this bow. I think, one, it shoots fantastic, and it's incredibly incredibly smooth. Back wall on it is rock solid. Again, just like all of the bows. So whenever you get into anchor and you get into this bow, it feels really, really good. And then post-shot feel, dead. It's got a different note than what the Hoyt does, though, in my opinion. It's just got a little different sound. But again, minimal accessories on these bows. Typically, I would run a probably a sidebar on these a little bit longer axle-to-axle bows, and I run a fixed quiver, which deadens the bow even more. But even like this, there's virtually no feedback or hand shock in either one of these bows. They both feel absolutely fantastic in my opinion. Can't argue with either. Both feel fantastic post shot. You can go either way with them, but I do think there's a slightly different note when it comes to sound between the two. But again, the back wall on both of them incredibly solid, and post shot feel. There's virtually no vibration on either one of these carbon bows, which to me is incredible. I like post shot feel is not the deal breaker for me, but whenever you have a bow that does not send a crazy vibration through your arm or have a lot of feedback, it just feels, when that shot breaks, it just feels really good. That's how these bows feel. So really enjoy shooting both of these. All right, guys, PSE Mach 33. This bow's set up at 70 pounds, 28.5 inches. We're shooting a 447 grain Easton Axis 4mm arrow, and we're gonna get our 3-shot speed average for you. All right, we got an average of 277.9 feet per second. Now we're gonna move on to the RX9 Ultra. All right, folks, Hoyt RX9 Ultra. Again, this is pulling 70 pounds, 28.5 inches of draw length, and a 447 grain Easton Axis 4mm. All right, so RX9 Ultra, we have an average 3-shot group of 282.4 feet per second, so a touch faster than the PSE Mach 33. So as you can see, we got a piece of tape down there, and that's what I'm using as my reference point to aim. Tell you, it's tough to beat the feel of the Mach 33 when it comes to draw cycle. It's just super, super smooth. All right, let's take a look at this. All right, not terrible, but not my best group. Whenever I shoot my Mach 33, I typically, because the bows are so light, they float a little bit for me. So I run a back bar and a stabilizer to help steady that bow a little bit. Shoots fantastic, feels incredible, but for me, shooting the Mach 33, I do like adding a little bit additional weight to the bow to hold a little bit more steady. But for 30 yards, not terrible, but let's be honest, it's not the best. Let's shoot the Mach, or excuse me, the RX9 Ultra now. All right, same thing, green piece of tape down there. The RX9 does have a really, really good post-shot feel, in my opinion, and I really like the way the bow sounds once you release that arrow. Ooh, buddy, you better run away. You run into that back wall hard. About to send one into my ceiling. All right, let's walk down. Let's look at that group and see how it compares to the PSE. Clearly pulled that left one, that about ran away from me. But as far as elevation goes, we're on point. I did pull that shot a little bit, but the Hoyt right out of the gate, the way that bow is set up feels really, really good to me. As far as holding, it holds really well on target. The way it's set up, I don't feel like it needs anything additional, but I would still probably, like I do, run a quiver, a fixed quiver on it and that back bar to make it hold just a little bit better. But that bow shoots fantastic. So we're gonna do a little bit more shooting now. We're gonna shoot some of the 3D animals we got set up and just see how they compare. All right, let's shoot some 3D targets. We've got a bear down there at like 30 yards roughly. All right, so obviously these feelings on each of these bows is a personal opinion. So in order for you guys to really get a true feel of what each of the bows looks like, I would encourage you to go to your local pro shop so you can see for yourself and see what bow really fits you. Hard to deny the accuracy of the RX9. It just shoots really good. While the draw cycle is a bit stiffer than the Mach 33, the bow, as is set up, shoots and holds on target extremely well. But remember, I'm not the best shooter in the world, so a lot of shooter-induced errors in these shots, so bear with me. All right, guys, there you have it. The Hoyt RX9 Ultra versus the PSE Mach 33. We covered everything. Features, tuning capability, draw cycle, post-shot feel, back wall, the valley, the speeds of the bow, and of course, our accuracy testing, which obviously there's some shooter-induced error in there. So take it with a grain of salt. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Drop some comments, give us some feedback. Let us know which bow you would opt for. What's your bow of choice? You going with the Hoyt RX9 Ultra? Or are you going with the PSE Mach 33? Drop the comments, let us know. Again, thanks for watching, guys. We will see you guys in the next episode of Bow Wars.